Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, my name is Nilam Putri Anggraini, or you can call me Nilam. I'm a college student from Al-Azhar Indonesia University. My major is Early Childhood Education. In this video, I will tell you a story from a novel, Sweet Bean Paste by Durian Sukegawa. Happy watching!
The reason why I chose this book. Number 1. As long as I know, this book is a fable in two versions. The original version is in English and the second is in Indonesian. The both of version has a beautiful cover book. In English version, I can say it's beautiful with the simplicity. And then Indonesian version, it's more detail of cherry blossom tree and I love it. The second reason is because, to be honest, I don't like to eat red bean in vegetable soup, but maybe I will like red bean paste in dorayaki when I read this book. Chapter 1. First view when I read the first chapter of this book is describe about the setting of Dora shop at Cherry Blossom Street, which sells dorayaki with red bean paste filling. In this chapter, there are two main characters, a man named Sentaro and an old woman, or we can call her grandmother, wear a white hat named Toku. She is very interested to apply in job vacancy opened by Sentaro at Dora shop. Sentaro wasn't sure the old woman could working well at 76 years old. He tried to be as gentle as possible to rejecting Toku. Even she willing to be paid half of what was offered in the poster. Dora shop use red bean paste especially made for food retail. It has been like that since the previous shop owner. 1 container or 5 kilograms of red bean paste never sold out in a day. It can be last longer if refrigerated and mixed with the next day best. That's what Sentaro did every morning. On the next day, Toku is coming back to Dora shop. She is bringing a plastic container of her handmade red bean paste and offering to be paid just 200 yen because of her crooked fingers. Sentaro has not changed his mind. However, she said he could not accept Toku work in Dora shop. Then Toku left the shop with telling Sentaro to try her handmade red bean paste. After Toku left the Dora shop, Sentaro put that container into trash bin. But the container always catch up by Sentaro's eyes when he opened it and closed the bin. After a while, Sentaro take it back. He think it will be more respectful if he try a little bit. A moment after he tasted it, Sentaro was amazed. Toku made him remember to his mom who has been passed away a long time ago. Sentaro's mom really loved to eat sweet dish, especially manju. It's never failed to make her mood feel better after a fight with Sentaro's father. After all of this happened, Sentaro decided to accept Toku work at Dora shop kitchens, just to help him make the red bean paste, not to serving customers. The next day, Sentaro saw Toku standing under the cherry blossom tree in front of the Dora shop, looking at the fallen cherry leaves. Sentaro smiled and told Toku how delicious her handmade red bean paste. Toku was very happy, especially when Sentaro asked if she could work at his shop. It turns out that Toku's hand condition is caused by a disease she had a long time ago. They also talk about the shop. Sentaro explained that he is not the owner, he's just the manager. Then Toku say goodbye and prepare to start working tomorrow. At night, Sentaro thinks about what happened today. He explained to Toku how the shop operates and tell that Dorahari's shop always use ready-made paste from the supplier. Toku was unhappy or complained when she heard that the shop only prepared 2 hours before opening. She said to make fresh red bean paste, they need to come to the shop before sunrise. And then Sentaro must agree with her. Sentaro also thinks about the shop owner. How to told her about Toku. Sentaro also worried about children customer who always noisy and like to complain. What if they know about Toku condition? That night, Sentaro's mind was busy. Today, Toku arrived earlier than Sentaro. As usual, she was looking at the cherry tree in front of the Dorahari shop. In the kitchen, there were red beans that has been soaked overnight. Toku started working on the beans carefully and enthusiasm in every step. Sentaro was surprised by how Toku handled the red beans. But then Sentaro realized the different quality of the red bean that Toku prepared than he usually did. While waiting for the red bean resting or mitsuzuke, Toku asked Sentaro to write down the step for making the red bean paste that she taught him. And then they talking a bit about the customer until the red bean paste perfectly done. Sentaro continued make the dorayaki pancakes, and then 15 minutes before the shop opened, they put the red bean paste in the middle of dorayaki pancakes. Sentaro was amazed by the taste again. For the first time, he was able to eat a whole dorayaki, even though he usually didn't like sweet dish. The middle and high school students who were usually noisy are suddenly silent. They are amazed by the delicious taste of dorayaki. Toku could turn any type of red bean into high-quality red bean paste. Sentaro thought about selling dorayaki based on type of the red beans, but he remembered his dream job wasn't to be a dorayaki maker. He wanted to be a writer. On summer afternoon, a rare moment happened. For the first time, Sentaro put up a sign that says sold out on the shop window. Sentaro felt proud and satisfied. He believed that Toku's present to help him boost the sales, which would allow him to pay off his debt and get out from this baking job early. Sentaro decided to keep the shop open until late night in the next day because thinking about the hungry office worker. The next day, Sentaro helped Toku increase the amount of red bean paste they made. For the first time, Sentaro understood what busy really meant, because he just kept baking, put the bean paste on the middle of the dorayaki pancake, and at once being cashier all day long. As usual, Sentaro never took a day off, and he didn't add extra work day for Toku. This continued until the rainy season is coming. The rainy season was challenging for red bean paste and also the dorayaki pancake. Both of them needed special care. However, thanks to Toku red bean paste, the rainy season wasn't a big problem for their sale. Sentaro put up the sold out sign for several times. The shop was busier than before, made Sentaro very tired. One day, he was so exhausted that he couldn't even open the shop rolling door and fell asleep for a while. Suddenly, Sentaro's mind full of his mother's memories while he was in jail and his mother visited him. He woke up and walking down the street, not knowing where he was going. The wind sounds like whispering in his ears, "Die." Next morning, Sentaro woke up because of a phone call from Toku, who already arrived at the shop. Sentaro said the shop would be closed for this day and told Toku to go home after she made red bean paste. The next day was Toku's day off, but once Sentaro arrived at the shop, he was surprised to see that Toku already prepared everything for opening the shop. And then Sentaro knows that Toku ran the shop alone yesterday, because of a customer came right after she finished making the bean paste. Sentaro was speechless. Imagine that Toku handling all of the work he usually did, despite her limitation, while Toku kept apologizing to him. Then they continue getting prepared and open the rolling door. Sentaro feeling guilty, but Toku asks some question about simple things that surprisingly work to make Sentaro feel better. The conversation flowed. Sentaro and Toku talk about their hometown, and eventually, Sentaro shared that he had a troubled past and must working at Toraharu shop for pay his debt to the shop owner. Toku encouraged Sentaro to keep fighting for his life. Toraharu success to get through the usual seasonal problems, bringing more customers each day. Among the customers, there are quiet middle school girl student named Wakana. She often ate dorayaki while looking at the kitchen, and did not answer when Sentaro asked about it. One day, Toku gave Wakana a misshaped dorayaki as a bonus, and Wakana started to share that her family was struggling in financial. Toku listened to Wakana's story and those of other students, which sometimes tell that improve of their home situation. Sentaro remembered Wakana asking about Toku fingers, which he thought it was disrespectful. But Toku responded calmly. She enjoyed interacting with the students and cured her longing to be a teacher. Toku and Sentaro thanked each other. After the summer break, the shop owner suddenly came to Toraharu shop. Sentaro's fear came true when the shop owner, who was at the same age like Toku, said that there are customers saw an old woman with crooked fingers work at Toraharu shop. The owner shop suspected Toku had leprosy, or now called Hansen disease, and her suspicion grew up when Sentaro told where Toku lived, in a sanatorium. It's such as quarantine facility. Despite Sentaro tried to tell Toku's strength and skill, the owner's shop still insisted on firing her. At home, Sentaro researched about Hansen disease and found out that our effective treatments exist since 1960 and no new patient since then. However, survivors still face discrimination due to the visible effect of the disease. Sentaro thought hard how to keep Toku working at Toraharu shop. Sentaro is confused about what to do with Toku and Toraharu. He's also overwhelmed by what he reads about Hansen disease. His past is full of trouble, especially his connection with his late boss, who was connected to the mafia and died because of liver disease. Sentaro feels indebted to his boss and his wife for helping him after go out from the jail. He keeps working at Toraharu even though he feels out of place. And sales are dropping now. Sentaro and Toku talk about the falling sales. In the same time, the owner shop keeps pushing him to fire Toku from Toraharu because of the stigma of Hansen disease. Sentaro is struggling with his feeling and get pressure from the shop owner. Sentaro and Toku talk about Toku's choice to quit working from Toraharu because she is tired. Sentaro tried to change her mind by asking for help, with the red bean paste, but Toko insists to leaving. Santaro asks Toko about her Hansen disease, and she shares her story of being isolated in a sanatorium. She explained that she was cured 40 years ago, but the stigma still remains. Toko says she enjoyed working at Duraharu but feels it's time to leave. After saying thank you, Toko leaves gratefully, while Santaro feels guilty as if he is pushed away his own mother, and goes back to the kitchen with heavy heart. As the season went on, the cherry blossom tree kept dropping leaves. It matched with Santaro's messy mood. He started drinking more than before, and often came late to the shop. He's feeling awful as customers complain about his dorayaki. One night, Wakana came back after a long time with canary bird named Murphy, asking Santaro to take care of it because Toku said so. She could not keep it in her apartment anymore. Santaro also found out that Wakana's mother spread the news about Toku. However, after a long discussion with Wakana, Santaro decided to keep the bird while waiting for a reply to Toku's letter. Santaro and Wakana arrive at the Hansen Disease Archive building in quiet neighborhood separated by a tall hedge. As they walk along the fence, it feels worse than a jail. They reach the building with a statue of a mother and son in front of the area. Possibly it's representing people with Hansen disease. Inside the sanatorium grounds, they see a quiet area that looks like public housing in another country. While waiting to meet Toku, they explore and meet an old man with a truck with some officer in protective suit. Finally, they get back to the shop where they would meet Toku, relieved to see the smiling face of the peaceful resident. Santaro and Wakana talking so much with Toku about the life in sanatorium, about Toku's husband who has been passed away 10 years ago, and how she used to struggle with Hansen disease when she was 14 years old. The three of them keep talking as they walk along the road. Toku shared that she learned about sweet food from her husband, who used to work at a sweet shop in Yokohama. In the sanatorium, everyone did things themselves, and the Hansen disease survivors worked together to keep things running. Toku and her husband chose to working in the food making division, which is why she became a master at making food. Toku also talked about the bitter reality that she and thousands of other Hansen survivors faced, including missing their childhood, family, and hometowns. After visiting the sanitarium and hearing Toku's story, it makes Santaro's body and soul shock. All night, his dreams were filled with the various scenes he encountered at the sanatorium. Santaro was overwhelmed with feelings of sadness, angry, and upset, wondering why God brought these people into the world if they ended up being tortured by Hansen disease. It has been over a month since Toku resigned from Duraharu shop. Selling are still down, but Santaro red bean paste is improving. Some customer praise about it. Santaro has also reduced his alcohol consumption and comes to the shop earlier. He has found new motivation to save the shop from bankruptcy. On the next day in rainy season, Santaro received a letter from Toku, which was very heartwarming. Santaro replied sincerely, sharing from his heart that he has not fully healed from his past and feels that he is responsible for his mother's death. In January, during the winter, Santaro received an invitation from Toku to visit her again. At there, they ate New Year celebration food while discussing ideas for turning sweet snack into savory ones. Toku also reminded Santaro to take some time to visit his father. Continuing with the idea of making sweet food into savory, like savory dorayaki, Sentaro started making the dough carefully on this day. However, the owner shop came again with impatience and set a deadline until next month when the cherry blossom blooms. If Sentaro failed to keep the shop from bankruptcy, the owner shop will change it from the dorayaki shop into another shop. Sentaro wrote a letter to Toku about adding salt to the dorayaki dough. It might not be the right decision. However, Toku replied with positive affirmation, encouraging Sentaro that he would find goodness after his exhausting struggle and would get through this hard time successfully. February is almost over. The strong wind signals that spring has arrived. The selling are slowly improving. The salty dorayaki is still being developed, but the change of the season seems to lift everyone's spirit. The shop owner expression has also changed. She is happy to see the selling improving. However, she also brought her nephew as the future owner of Doraharu shop. The lady owner will change the shop focus to selling okonomiyaki than dorayaki. Sentaro felt that the lady owner no longer respected him. Sentaro decided to quit his job. Besides it, he had already paid off his debt to her. The lady owner kept yelling at Sentaro when she accepted his resignation letter. Sentaro sat in silence, thinking that he has betrayed Toku by failing to keep any promises to her. Sentaro dreamed about meeting a girl in a white blouse at a shady place near a small river that's flowing so gently. She serves sakura flower tea with a little salty taste and many kind of sweet snack. Sentaro woke up and hurried to meet someone. Sentaro took Wakana to Tenshin in sanatorium for visit Toku. Along the way, they talk about sakura flowers and the canary bird named Murphy that they left with Toku. Wakana tell her desire to work at Doraharu shop, but the shop already changed right now, and Sentaro was no longer there. Sentaro and Wakana checked the shop where they met Toku before, but Toku was not there. Eventually, they meet Moriyama, a close friend of Toku. Moriyama told them that Toku had passed away 10 days ago because of pneumonia. She had tried to visit Doraharu to find Sentaro and tell about Toku's condition, but the shop had completely changed. Toku Ash were now at the columbarium along with her husband Ash. Moriyama invited Sentaro and Wakana to Toku's room, and there they saw a wedding photo of Toku and her husband named Yoshiaki. They looking very happy. Sentaro imagined the hardship they must face it the days after. Moriyama told Sentaro to take Toku and her husband's snack-making tools because everything in this house will be thrown away at the end of this month. Toku also left a bundle of letters for Sentaro. The letters explain Toku's life journey and her discovery of the meaning of life. After visiting Toku's house, the three of them stopped by to greet Toku at columbarium. Toku once said to Moriyama about her ability to hear the words of red beans. There's no way she can hear the words of red beans. But if she thinking she can hear them, maybe one day she will really able to hear them. Just like if they live in the sanatorium only seeing the reality, they will only feel like dying. And to exceed this cage, we only live as if we have already exceeded it. Instead of visiting the columbarium, Moriyama took Sentaro and Wakana to the forest. Moriyama said, "Every time one of us died, a new tree planted here. Each tree is a proof of their soul that they have successfully lived their lives here." Moriyama tells that Someyashi no kind of sakura tree is Toku's tree, next to Buna tree belonging to Toku's husband. Sentaro feels a deep sense of gratitude for Toku, Wakana, and the journey they have been doing together. Sentaro feels proud of what he has achieved and looks to the future with hope. The story ends with a sense of hope and optimism, with Sentaro feeling ready to face whatever comes next.